Morning, everyone. Welcome to this very cold morning here at Bo's Garage. And today we're going to do a coolant drain and refill on the Expedition. Why? Well, one, it is part of your routine maintenance you need to do. And two, in 2 days, not tomorrow, which tomorrow's Monday, but Tuesday, we're supposed to have one of the worst winter storms that we've had in decades. And now, granted, it's supposed to be like 6 inches of snow, and I hear my northern people laughing at us, but we don't get snow or ice in the South. We get 100 degrees with 100% humidity. So, and the snow we will get when we get snow is wet, heavy snow. And with it being 24 degrees, it'll turn into lots of ice, knock the power lines, everything else. It's not going to be a great time. But in an effort to make sure this truck is ready for it, because that one's already had its coolant dealt with, is we're going to drain this one down. So now we got the tools of the trade. The first thing you need, a drain bucket, a wrench to get the nut off of, because this one has a nut for its petcock. Some of them have like a little flap. It just depends on your vehicle. And then a gallon of antifreeze. I went with Motorcraft because I used to work for the Ford dealership here in town before I went back to General Motors, and they still sell me all Ford parts at employee price. So I like to stick with the OEM manufacturer of parts if I can on a car. That one I can still get some OEM parts from Chrysler, but not many. This one I can still get lots of parts from Ford because that 4.6 liter stayed in production for so long. So let's get started, guys. So we're gonna hop up under the truck, and our petcock is right here by the passenger side tire. And so we're just gonna get that wrench up in here. We have to go this way with it. Yep, there we go. And just, there we go. She's snugged down and loose. So now I can just get my hand in here. And we're gonna get the pan ready because it'll start to pee on us. Drunk camera angles are the best. And there she goes. Make sure I open the cap. And we'll let her drain. Right, so we're back. She's finished draining out the a little bit more, so I'm gonna mess with the hose pipe to get it out of there. But yeah, she still got a little more drain. But we're back. Took the Dodge to go to the grocery store real quick. That coolant looked funky as can be, so at least now we know she's gonna have some good stuff in her. So keep squeezing this till it pushes out the last of it. But yeah, coolant looked terrible. Now since she's drained out, we're gonna get the new stuff, and I apologize for any wind noise. We got like a 30-mile-an-hour wind coming through this morning. Go in there and tighten the petcock. And word of advice, when you go to tighten the petcock, be easy when you're torquing it down, especially if it's like a screw-in type, just because they're plastic and you can easily strip it out by over torquing it. So now we're gonna start feeding her some of that good old Motorcraft antifreeze. Give her the good stuff. So we filled her up with antifreeze. I'm gonna go refill this jug with water. And some people will do like half of this and the rest water here in the South. I don't, just because of cold snaps like this randomly coming through in our winter time. So use every bit of antifreeze. And while she's bubbling down and sucking down, we're gonna go top this up with water. Yep, she glugged down what she had. Now I'm going to start her up, and we're going to let the cooling system run, open the thermostat, get the block filled up. Servicing your cooling system is very important. Right what I'm doing right now, we're going to let the truck idle, and she's getting up to temperature. And once she gets up to temperature, it's going to help burp the system, any air bubbles or anything that might be in the engine. Because once the thermostat opens, obviously, boom, here comes the coolant. Now, servicing your cooling system is a very important part of vehicle maintenance. Not a lot of people realize that. And excuse the dirtiness of this headliner, I have not got the chance to detail this truck yet. It will get detailed very soon, though. I digress. So, what you have to do, now, GM, usually we do like 50 to 60,000 miles. We'll recommend a coolant service. Every manufacturer is different in how they do it. My rule of thumb is I do it once a year on my cars, just once a year. And especially my older cars like this, just because, you know, they're old and coolant does break down over time. I know like Dodge, like if you get the Dodge antifreeze, it'll say 100,000 mile, and it's like, no, about 50,000 if you're driving, or just about once a year. I drive a lot, so you know that's usually about a once a year anyway for me. So that's just my rule of thumb. You know, study your car, figure out what your car's recommended service intervals are, and stick by that. Now, any fluid, if the manufacturer or the dealer, when you purchase the car, says, oh, it's lifetime fluid, they're full of shit. It'll be the lifetime of it, because once it's done, it's done. Now, transmissions, 50,000 miles. Don't care what they say at Joe Blow Automotive, unless you have a CVT transmission, continuously variable, which a lot of Nissan cars are popular with. Honda has some in their cars, Subaru, Mitsubishi. The rule of thumb I learned early on was about 25,000 to 30,000 miles. Service the fluid, clean the screen. And I know that sounds very overkill, but a continuously variable transmission has a metal belt that goes through, and little fibers are going to come off that little metal shavings. And that's going to go through the fluid unless you change that fluid and clean that screen frequently. That's kind of why CVTs grenade like they do. Granted, there's other reasons into it, but that is a major factor. If you service it, it will last longer. Service your cars, keep them up, keep them running. Cars are too expensive. A new Expedition base model like this one, well, actually an XLT, this is an XLT trim. An XLT Expedition is like 70 grand, all right? This truck was nowhere near 70 grand. I would rather keep this thing running and save my pocketbook. And you should do the same for your car, because new cars are too expensive. And honest to God, new cars are a waste of money. Save that money. That's vacation money. That's have fun money instead of car money. Guys, well, that pretty much does it. There's really nothing left to see after that. She burped the air out of the system. I made sure it's topped up to the correct level. Put the cap back on it. Truck's good. That's a basic how-to on doing a coolant service. Now, every car is different, so make sure you research your car. But make sure you do the maintenance, take care of your car, and make sure you got plenty of antifreeze before a cold storm like what's coming to us comes through. Especially if you're like us and you live in a warmer climate where most people put water in the radiator. Because nothing's more fun than having to put freeze plugs or cracking your block or having a busted radiator. So Save yourself the money, buy a jug of antifreeze, and make sure your system's serviced. Thank you guys for watching. You're awesome.